This is a short overview of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain during the 18th century and halfway through the 19th century. The Industrial Revolution happened because of the increase in population, the availability of resources, the need for more trade, and the rich willing to invest. During the Industrial Revolution, a lot of new machines were created, and there were big changes in the way that trade, technology, agriculture, and mining were done. There were also big changes in the way people were educated and in the way labor was handled. The reasons will be explained.
So, in regards to the increase in population, after the agricultural revolution, there was a huge increase in the population, which led to a bigger need for food, and the only way to get more money was by working, which means the workforce grew bigger. After factories were established, more people would emigrate from farms to cities so they could aspire to get a job. More work was available and people went where the money was. When the Industrial Revolution started, people started having as many kids in general, but the population kept increasing because the medical advances lowered the death rate exponentially.
Trading was a very important part of a sustainable economy, and it still is to this very day. A lot more people were traveling across Britain with the resources such as coal and iron for the factories, and they used many various ways of transporting this, which was they used canals for transporting inside the city, where there wasn't a lot of space, and trains for long distance across from North Britain to South Britain. So but they had to struggle, so they used railways, which were able to transport to use the trains. They had free trade with Scotland, but because they had a political union between England and Scotland for much larger markets.
Another reason why the Industrial Revolution was able to occur was because the investors in Britain were willing to invest in new technologies. Sadly, there were also some people who were against all this new technology because it stole other people's jobs. And a group called Lurides actually went into factories and destroyed these machines. But lucky for all of us, they got stopped, and they of course got punished. Nobility also became less important, and workers gained a lot of relevance in the social pyramid because that they now had a chance to become something big. They could, if people invested in them and they came up with a new thing, they would maybe be able to gain a lot of money. Resources was also one of the reasons. The best iron and coal in Europe came from Britain. And they had a lot of this, and they needed something to use it on. And by creating the steam machine, they would be able to use the coal to heat up the water to actually produce something that could move. And the iron was good for example, ships and to hold the heat and to resist the heat. And because they had so much of all these different resources, they were able to use them for something now. Belgium also had a lot of these two specific resources, and that's actually one of the reasons why Belgium was so far in front of many other countries during the Industrial Revolution, because when they traded with England, they would trade for machines.
We conclude that the Industrial Revolution started because of the increase in population after the Agricultural Revolution, which led to an increase in the amount of goods produced. Thanks to the resources that were readily available, the intelligent inventors and the investors willing to spend their capital on the project that would improve productivity. All in all, these factors and the absence of trade barriers with Scotland made Britain the best candidate for going through all the changes that the Industrial Revolution entailed.